No single person or nation can be credited with the invention of the typewriter. As with the light bulb, automobile, telephone, and telegraph, a number of people contributed insights and inventions that eventually resulted in commercially successful instruments. In the 600s, quill pens and parchment paper took hold in Europe. Dripping ink discourages pen lifting, hence the use of cursive writing. In the 1440s, Johannes Gutenberg's printing press forces scribes to pivot to teaching penmanship. In 1712, a popular copybook by George Bickman teaches farmers and merchants to write in a round hand. In 1714, the first recorded patent for a typewriter was taken out in England by Henry Mill. The machine that he invented appears, from the patent, to have been similar to a typewriter and was described as a machine for transcribing letters. But it wasn't until 1829 that the first practical writing machine in the United States was created, the typographer from William Austin Burt. According to Burt's patent, the typographer was the first constructed and operating typewriter anywhere. In 1833, a French patent was awarded to Xavier Progan for his machine that embodied for the first time one of the principles employed in modern typewriters: the use for each letter or symbol of separate type bars, actuated by separate lever keys. In 1865, Denmark's Rasmus Malling Hansen introduces the first commercial typewriter, the Hansen Writing Ball. In 1867, Christopher Lathan Scholes and his associates created a more practical commercial machine. 1878 entered the shift key model, permitting the changes of upper and lower cases. When Remington began marketing typewriters, the company assumed that the machine would not be used for composing, but for transcribing dictation, and that the person that would be typing would be a woman. With handwriting under threat by typewriters, Austin Palmer introduces a smaller, faster writing style, taught via militaristic drills in 1894. His 1912 textbook on the Palmer method sells more than 1 million copies. In 1916, Hao Kun Chow, a mechanical engineer in Shanghai, is credited with inventing the first Chinese typewriter. As the Chinese language uses logographic writing systems, fitting thousands of Chinese characters on the machine needed much more complex engineering than typewriters using the simple Latin alphabet. The first practical Japanese typewriter was invented by Kyoto Sugimoto in 1929. Out of the thousands of kanji characters, Kyoto's original typewriter used 2,400 of them. In 1935, the electric typewriter, which allowed greater speed with less effort than the manual machine, came into use. In 1944, the first ballpoint pen is marketed, and in 1958, the Bic ballpoint hits U.S. stores, turning pens, once luxury goods, into cheap commodities. In the age of the computer, many articles are published each year about the decline of penmanship, blaming the typewriter and subsequent writing technologies. What impact have typewriters had on the process of reading, writing, and communication? Ong outlines the psychodynamics of orality and suggests that the development of writing has brought with it a shift in human thought processes. He suggests that writing has affected human cognition through a transformation of redundant patterns of language to establishing a line of continuity outside the mind in literate societies. Literate beings encompass linear or analytic thought and speech, artificially structured by the technology of writing. Ong further offers that this shift in communication is also a shift in cognitive processes, moving from situational to more abstract thinking. The typewriter modified the look and feel of writing. Typewriting can be equated with depersonalization, as each letter of the alphabet is systematically formed on the page in the exact same shape and size. Each letter is identical and uniform, whereas handwriting allows for variation in shape and size, denoting human creation. Through the appearance of the printed text, one can pick up a sense of the word in space quite differently from that conveyed by writing. Printed texts look machine-made, as they are. Typographic control typically impresses more by its tidiness. The lines perfectly regular, all justified on the right side, everything coming even visually, and without the aid of guidelines or rule borders that can often occur in manuscripts. This is an insistent world of cold, non-human facts. In 2012, scientists found that the brains of pre-literate kids respond like a reader's brain when they write their ABCs, but not when they type or trace the letters. Another research team reports that college students who transcribed lectures on their laptops recall less information than those who took notes by hand because the use of laptops resulted in shallower processing. Across 3 experiments, researchers had students take notes in a classroom setting and then tested students on their memory for factual detail, their conceptual understanding of the material, and their ability to synthesize and generalize the information. The 2 types of note takers performed equally well on questions that involved recalling facts, but laptop note takers performed significantly worse on the conceptual questions. While reading and writing remains at the heart of education, emerging technologies will continue to alter the concept of literacy itself. As we continue to move from written text to digitized information, educators must adapt their didactic methods to coincide with modern technologies. The technologies of handwriting and typewriting need not exist in a binary relationship in our postmodernist culture. They can coexist, offering us a multiplicity of ways to communicate where each is geared for its own different purpose.